Most people think that to change your life, you need to think big. They set massive goals, wait for a life-altering breakthrough, and rely on sheer willpower to get there. But if you've ever felt like you're running in place despite your best efforts, I have a hard truth for you. Your goals aren't the problem, your system is. Today, we are doing a deep dive into James Clear's masterwork, Atomic Habits. We're going to explore why small 1% shifts are more powerful than any New Year's resolution, and how to build a life where success happens on autopilot. In the next few minutes, we'll move beyond the surface level advice and into the actual science of how your brain builds a new reality. To understand why small things matter, we have to look at one of the most incredible transformations in sports history, the British cycling team. For nearly 110 years, they were the laughingstock of the world. They were so incredibly mediocre that one of the top bike manufacturers in Europe refused to even sell them equipment, fearing it would damage their reputation. Then came Dave Brailsford. He didn't come in with a 10-year plan for a gold medal. Instead, he introduced a concept called the aggregation of marginal gains. He believed that if you improved every tiny area related to cycling by just 1%, the cumulative effect would be massive. They didn't just train harder, they searched for 1% improvements everywhere. They found more aerodynamic racing suits. They hired a surgeon to teach the riders the best way to wash their hands to avoid colds during the season. They even tested different pillows and mattresses to see which lead to the best night's sleep for each specific rider. Individually, these changes seem trivial, almost silly, but collectively, just 5 years later, they won 60% of the gold medals at the Beijing Olympics. This is the essence of an atomic habit. It's not a giant leap, it's a tiny component in a larger system. Just as atoms are the building blocks of molecules, atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. The reason we struggle to stick with 1% changes is because our brains are wired for immediate survival, not long-term compounding. If you go to the gym for 3 days, you don't see a transformation in the mirror, so you quit. But look at the trajectory of the math. Success is the compound interest of self-improvement. If you get 1% better every day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better. But here's the scary part. The reverse is also true. If you get 1% worse every day, you decline nearly to zero. In the beginning, there's basically no difference between a choice that is 1% better or 1% worse. It's the difference between eating a salad or a burger for lunch today. It seems like it doesn't matter, but as time passes, these small choices widen the gap between who you are and who you could be. Think of it like an airplane taking off from Los Angeles for New York City. If the pilot changes the heading just 3.5 degrees, a tiny movement of the nose, the plane will end up in DC instead of New York. You wouldn't notice the shift during takeoff, but by the end of the journey, you are hundreds of miles off course. Your habits are that 3.5 degree shift. They determine your destination. So why does it feel so hard in the beginning? James Clear calls this the plateau of latent potential. We all want progress to be linear, a straight line going up, but in reality, progress is often lagging. It stays flat for a long time before the explosion happens. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room that is 25 degrees. You heat it up 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 degrees. Still, nothing has happened. Then, you hit 33 degrees. Suddenly, the ice begins to melt. 1 degree shift, seemingly no different from the ones before it, unlock the transformation. People on the outside call it overnight success. But you know it was the work put in at 26 degrees that made 33 possible. Or consider the Chinese bamboo tree. It barely breaks the surface for the first 5 years, building an invisible, massive root system underground. Then, in the 5th year, it shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Did it grow 90 feet in 6 weeks or in 5 years? The answer is both. If you are struggling right now, you aren't failing. You are building roots. You are heating the ice. Your work isn't wasted, it's being stored. The biggest lesson of part 1 is this. Forget about your goals for a moment. Winners and losers often have the same goals. Every Olympic athlete wants the gold, every job seeker wants the job. The goal isn't what separates them. The system is, as Clear famously says. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. But how do we actually change that system? It starts with the most powerful force in human psychology, identity. In the next part, we are going to talk about why you need to stop focusing on what you want to achieve and start focusing on who you want to become. In part 1, we talked about systems, but why do even the best systems fail? Why do we start a new diet with high hopes, only to find ourselves face down in a box of donuts 3 days later? James Clear argues, because we try to change our outcomes without changing our identity. Imagine 3 layers of behavior change like an onion. The outer layer is your outcomes, what you get. The middle layer is your process, what you do. But the core, the most important layer, is your identity, what you believe about yourself. Most people focus on outcome-based habits. They say, I want to be thin, so if I stick to this diet, you'll get there. This is hard because you're fighting against your old self. True behavior change is actually identity change. You don't just want to achieve a result. You want to become the type of person who achieves that result. Clear gives a brilliant example of 2 people trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, the first person says, "No thanks," in trying to quit. It sounds reasonable, but I still believe they are a smoker who is trying to be something else. The second person says, "No thanks, and not a smoker." See the difference? That tiny shift in language signals a total shift in identity. Once you believe you are a certain type of person, you no longer have to try to behave a certain way. You just act in alignment with who you are. To master your identity, you have to understand the machine under the hood. Every habit follows a specific first-step loop that your brain executes in milliseconds. Cue, craving, response, and reward. Let's break it down. Step 1 is the cue. It's the trigger that tells your brain to start a behavior. It's the buzz of your phone or the smell of coffee. Step 2 is the craving. This is the motivational force. You don't crave the phone notification, you crave the feeling of being connected or entertained. Step 3 is the response. This is the actual habit. The action you take, like scrolling through Instagram. Step 4 is the reward. This is the end goal. It satisfies your craving and, most importantly, teaches your brain which actions are worth remembering. Here is the key insight most people miss. The craving is about anticipation. Modern neuroscience shows that dopamine, the chemical responsible for desire, spikes before you take action. Your brain is a prediction machine. Once it associates a cue with a reward, the dopamine hit happens the moment you see the kitchen door. You aren't chasing the cookie, you're chasing the relief of the craving your brain created. If any of these first stages is insufficient, a habit will not form. Eliminate the cue, and your habit never starts. Reduce the craving, and you won't have enough motivation to act. Make the response too difficult, and you won't do it. And if the reward fails to satisfy your desire, then you'll have no reason to do it again in the future. This first step loop is the backbone of every human behavior. And from this loop, James Clear derived the 4 laws of behavior change. These are the practical tools we are going to use to design our lives. In the next part, we are going to get tactical. I'm going to show you how to hack your environment so that good habits are inevitable and bad habits are impossible. We're moving from the why to the how. Get ready, because this is where the real transformation begins. We like to think we are in control of our choices. But the truth is, we are often just reacting to the cues in our environment. Most of our bad habits are simply automated responses to a specific trigger. If you want to change your life, you have to stop relying on memory and start relying on visual cues. The first law is simple. Make it obvious. James Clear offers 2 powerful tools here. The first is implementation intentions. Most people say, I'm going to eat healthier. That's too vague. Your brain doesn't know when to start. Instead, use this formula. I will do this specific action at this time in this place. The second tool is habit stacking. This is where you anchor a new habit to an old one. The formula is, after this current habit, I will do this new habit. After I pour my morning coffee, you are using the existing neural pathways in your brain to piggyback a new behavior. But the ultimate hack for Lawin is environment design. Stop trying to be a person of high willpower in a world of high temptation. If you want to drink more water, put a bottle on every desk and nightstand in your house. If you want to practice guitar, put it in the middle of the room. Don't hide your good habits in a drawer. Be the architect of your environment, not just its victim. Now law second, make it attractive. As we discussed in part 2, habits are driven by dopamine. But here is the secret. Dopamine is released not just when you get the reward, but when you anticipate it. The craving is often more powerful than the consumption. How do we use this? Through temptation bundling. You link an action you want to do with an action you need to do. For example, if you love watching my YouTube video, but you need to exercise, you make a rule. You can only watch my YouTube video and subscribe and like while you are on the stationary bike. Another huge factor in attractiveness is your tribe. We all herd animals. We want to fit in. One of the most effective things you can do is join a culture where desired behavior is the normal behavior. If you join a running club, being an athlete stops being a struggle and starts being a social norm. When you see everyone around you doing the work becomes attractive. Now we get to the most practical law of all. Make it easy. Human nature follows the law of least effort. You naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work to build a good habit. You must reduce friction. Think about priming the environment. If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your clothes, shoes, and water the night before. You want to make the start so easy that you can't say no. On the flip side, if you want to stop watching so much TV, take the batteries out of the remote and put them in another room. Add friction to bad habits, remove it from good ones. But the crown jewel of Law 3 is the 2-minute rule. Clear argues that a habit must be established before it can be improved. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. You aren't trying to finish the marathon on day 1. You are just trying to master the art of showing up. If you can show up for 2 minutes every day, you are casting that vote for your identity. Once the habit is standardized, then only then can you worry about optimizing it. Standardize before you optimize. By making your habits obvious, attractive, and easy, you've removed 90% of the hurdles. But there is one final piece of the puzzle, the reward. How do you make sure the habit sticks for a lifetime, even on your worst days? In the final part of our journey, we'll talk about the 4th law, make it satisfying, and the golden rule that will keep you on track forever. Let's bring this whole system together. We've made our habits obvious, attractive, and easy. But there is a final cardinal rule of behavior change. What is rewarded is repeated. What is punished is avoided. This is law 4th, make it satisfying. Here is the challenge. Our brains evolved in what scientists call an immediate return environment. Our ancestors needed rewards now. Food, safety, shelter. But modern success lives in a delayed return environment. You work out today, but the reward, a healthy body, is months away. You save money today, but the reward, financial freedom, is decades away. To make a habit stick, you have to hack this delay. You need a small, immediate burst of satisfaction to signal to your brain that this action was worth it. For example, if you want to stop eating out, every time you skip a restaurant and cook at home, transfer $5 into a trip to your savings account. The satisfaction of seeing that balance grow is the immediate reward that keeps the long-term habit alive. One of the most powerful satisfying techniques is habit tracking. There is no better feeling than crossing a task off a list or marking an X on a calendar. It provides visual evidence that you are casting votes for your identity. Clear mentions the story of a successful stockbroker who started every morning with 2 jars on his desk. One full of 120 paper clips, the other empty. Every time he made a sales call, he moved 1 paper clip. He didn't stop until the 2nd jar was full. The visual progress was the reward. It turned a boring, difficult task into a game of completion. Tracking also keeps you honest. We often think we're doing better than we actually are. A tracker is a mirror that doesn't lie. But remember, the goal is not the tracking. The goal is the behavior. Don't become a slave to the numbers. Use them as fuel. Now, let's be real. Life happens. You'll get sick. you'll have a busy day at work. Or you'll just lose motivation. This is where most people quit. They think, I missed today. I've ruined everything. But the difference between a pro and an amateur is not that the pro never misses. It's that they recover faster. James Clear's most important rule for long-term success is never miss twice. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. If you miss your workout on Tuesday, show up on Wednesday, even if it's only for 5 minutes. On your worst days, the bad workouts are actually the most important ones. They aren't about the physical gain. They are about maintaining the identity. Going to the gym for 5 minutes when you feel terrible is a powerful vote for being someone who doesn't miss. It keeps the system alive until your energy returns. We started this journey talking about 1% changes. We looked at how systems beat goals, how identity drives behavior, and how to engineer your environment. But Atomic Habits is more than just a productivity book. It is a philosophy of continuous improvement. Success is not a destination you reach, it's a system you run. It's not about doing something remarkable once. It's about doing something invisible every single day. You don't need to change everything tonight. You just need to heat the ice cube 1 more degree. Look at your life right now. What is one atomic habit? Something so small it takes less than 2 minutes, that you can start tomorrow. Write it in the comments below. Let's start casting those votes together. Thank you so much for watching until here. And if you like this video, please subscribe and like. Remember, small changes, remarkable results. I'll see you in the next deep dive.